Hello, good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about the radius of atom, velocity of atom and the energy of the atom. So these topics are discovered by the Bohr after his postulates. Okay, students. So let's see one by one. The next is the Bohr's theory of stationary radius. Bohr's stationary radius. An electron which rotate through a centripetal force and electrostatic force of attractions, right, exerted by the positively charged nucleus. The charge of the nucleus is Ze, right friends. So it means when electrons are rotating around the nucleus, so electrons through the whatever the force they are exerted, the one force is centripetal force which is rotating this fixed path around the nucleus rotating, and the another is the electrostatic force. The electrostatic force convert into the centripetal form, and here the electrostatic force is mv square by r. This is the electrostatic force written as a Fe is equal to mv square by r. According to Coulomb law, 1 by 4 pi absolute naught Ze into E by r square. So Ze stand for the charge. For example, last time we had discussed the charge 1, q1 and q2. Two charges are there, between them radius r. So one charge is considered as an electron. If electron charge we are considered as a E. And what should be the charge of the proton? The proton charge is mentioned here Ze. Proton charge mentioned here Ze. Ze means the atomic number. Atomic number means the number of proton. Number of proton nothing but a Ze. Students. Okay. So 1 by 4 pi absolute naught Ze, that is atomic number, and the electrons divided by r square. So this formula also written as Ze square by 4 pi absolute naught Ze square by 4 pi absolute naught 4 pi Z square by 4 pi absolute naught r square. Right friends? Okay. Then Z square by 4 pi absolute naught. This force compare with the electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is mv square by r, that is mv square by r here. So this value compare with electrostatic force. So it means we are here comparing the centripetal force and the electrostatic force we are comparing. While we are comparing, first we have to take out the v square outside. When we take out the v square outside, it becomes m comes at bottom side, that is Z square by 4 pi absolute naught mr. Right students? So here yes students, this formula we found v square, that is Z square by 4 pi absolute naught mr square. The eliminating the v by using the expression mvr nh by 2 pi. So this formula, this v, in which we have to this v we are compare with the mv square by r. The mv square is mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi, that is the angular momentum. So this formula we are compare with the angular momentum, that is angular momentum means mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. nh by 2 pi. Right students? Okay. Next, so if we compare here the mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi, then v is equal to nh by 2 pi mr students, 2 pi mr, right? So v value put in place of this equation, v square. The v value put in place of this equation, that is the v square means the nh by 2 pi mr whole square. Right students, this value we are substituted in place of here v square, it becomes like this. Understood? Okay. Next, then what happens students, the next when we are compare the both equation, this formula becomes like this: the n square, h square, the 4 pi square, m square and r square, and z square 4 pi mr square. Right? Okay. Next we want to calculate the radius, so that's why the r is taken as outside. This r is taken as the outside here. Now again rearrange this formula, that is absolute naught n square h square pi z m square. So r is equal to absolute naught n square h square pi z m square. Right students, so in this case we know that the value, we have to put the all the value. We know that the pi value, n value is constant here, h value is absolute naught value constant, h square value constant, mass of electron is constant, and atomic number z, and pi value is 3.142. When we substitute all those things, then we got the formula. After comparing all the things, we got r is equal to absolute naught n square h square the pi z m square. Right students, next the h, z, m are constant here. The h is a Planck value constant, that is 6.626 into 10 to the power of 34. Z is the atomic number of hydrogen, m is the mass of electron is constant. The expressing, then we got the r value is the n r naught absolute naught n square z, where r naught is e naught h square pi m square. This value we know that this all the value. If we substitute all the value, then we got the answer this one. If you are substitute the absolute naught value, if you substitute the Planck constant value, if you substitute the pi value, if you substitute mass of electron and the velocity of electron, then we got this formula. This value formula is considered as this is the radius of electrons in the stationary state. Radius of electrons in the stationary state. Understood students? If you want to calculate the radius of the lithium, so lithium, we know that the energy level, the radius of the lithium at the second energy level. The second energy level means the n is equal to 2. Right? Next, the n is equal to 2, and the atomic number of lithium is the hydrogen, helium, lithium, atomic number is 3. Right? So in that case, the n value is substitute in place of n square, and z value substitute in place of z. Then you got the radius of the hydrogen. So for like example, radius of lithium is n square by z. Right? N square by z. So it means the r is equal to n square is a 2 square z, 2 square, and the z value is 3. Then the whatever the radius you got here, that radius is the radius of the lithium. Radius of lithium at the second energy level. Understood students? Next is the velocity of atom when electrons are rotating around the nucleus. So what is the velocity of electrons? For velocity of electron purpose, we are using here again angular momentum formula, mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. Right? Again we are rearrange this formula. We know the r value. Already we know the r value. That is the r value we got here in the previous radius. We got the n square h square absolute naught divided by pi m z square, right, z square. This value, if you substitute the radius of r value in place of here, then we got, again we are arranging Vn means the number of velocity, the energy level of the velocity, n for the energy level 1 2 3 energy level, v is the velocity. Then again rearranging z square by 2 pi 2 absolute naught nh, 2 absolute naught nh, again this rearranging. When you substitute the z is atomic number, when you substitute the mass of electron and the absolute naught value and the Planck constant value, then you got the velocity is 2.16 into 10 to the power of 6, that's friends, into 10 to the power of 6. So this is the velocity of electron. So if you, in case you want to find out the velocity of electrons in helium, velocity of electrons in helium, so the helium, so the energy level, the velocity of the helium in the energy level is second energy level, then you got the v is equal to 2, that is 2.16 into 10 to the power of 6. Z means atomic number is 2 and the energy level is again 2, right students. Then you got the atomic number is 2 and the energy level also 2. Okay students, if you want to calculate the velocity of electrons, velocity of the lithium in the energy level is 4. So what is the velocity of electrons if the energy level is 4? So it means when so electrons are promoted from this the first energy level to 1 2 3 4, first energy level to the fourth energy level, electrons are promoted. So what is the velocity here? So we have to find out, calculate here. So that purpose Vn is equal to the 2.16 into 10 to the power of 6 into z by n. So that is the 2.16 into 10 to the power of 6. The atomic number of lithium is 3. The you want to calculate the energy level is, energy level considered as a 4. Then you calculate the you got the velocity of electrons of the lithium in the fourth energy levels, right students. So like this you have to find out the velocity. Next is the energy of the atom. Energy calculated as a Ke is equal to half mv square. K is equal to half mv square students. The kinetic energy formula, again we know the velocity, already we non-linear find out in the previous example. The half m, in place of v square we substitute the velocity of electrons, the z square that is whole square 2 pi absolute naught whole square. Then you got m square m, sorry, the m into z square 2e square into 2 raised to 4 to e to the power of 4. Next 4 pi absolute naught absolute whole square n square nh whole square. Again you calculate again you put the all the value, then you got the energy level is 13.6 the energy level of electron. So Z is the atomic number, N is the energy level, 1 2 3 energy level, right students. So these are the, here we have to find out the radius, velocity and energy, right. We have to find out the radius of the hydrogen atom, radius of the electrons in the stationary energy level or excited level, and the velocity is the stationary level and excited level, energy stationary level and excited level here find out. The energy is 13.6, z is square by n square, velocity is 2.16, z is square by n, radius is 0.53, n square by z. Right students? Next is the some limitations. So the Bohr's models have some limitations, some drawbacks. So which is cannot explain by the Bohr's some which is only hold for the few certain reason. Some drawbacks are there. What are the drawbacks? Let's see here. So Bohr's model, which is only applicable for the hydrogen and the hydrogen-like ions. Hydrogen and hydrogen-like ions. For example, the hydrogen contain one atomic number 1. It means one proton and one electrons. One proton and one electrons is present here. One proton is present here. So if we consider as a helium ion and we also which contain the one electrons. So the helium in place of hydrogen, if we are use the helium ion gas, which also shows the some spectral lines in which some dark space, which gives us some dark space spectral lines. And the lithium plus 2 ions, if you use the hydrogen which is similar to the lithium plus 2 ions, because hydrogen which contain 1 electrons, lithium plus 2, after removal of 2 electrons it contain 1 electrons. Right students? And the hydrogen which contain 1 electrons, the beryllium which if you remove 3 electrons, beryllium atomic number 3, in which if you remove 3 electron means it also contain 1 electron. So helium ion, lithium ion, beryllium ions which shows the spectral line like hydrogen spectra, right? But when he used the in place of hydrogen, if he used the sodium, then he got only two dark spaces observed. Only 2 dark spaces observed. It means only 2 dark spaces observed here. But when he used the hydrogen like element, in that case the many spectral lines he observed here, many spectral lines or missing spectral lines are observed. Many spectral lines are observed here when you are using the hydrogen atom. But when he used the sodium vapor lamp, has passed through the prism, then he got the spectral lines only 2. The 2 spectral lines he observed, only 2 spectral lines are observed here. So in that, this indicates that whatever the Bohr's model is there, the Bohr's model only hold for the certain few ions, helium ions, lithium ion and beryllium ions, but not for the sodium ions. Right students? So he cannot explain that why sodium ions are in which the many dark space could not observed in the sodium ions. He could not explain that one. Second one, it can't explain the fine doublet spectral lines, too closely spaced line hydrogen spectrum observed. It means when whatever the ray he used, the Balmer ray, when he used the Balmer color light, the prism in which we are passed the light, hydrogen light, lights are passed. So these lights are kept in presence of electric field. These are deflected. These lines are deflected in presence of magnetic field. In place of magnetic field, it deflected. So deflected, that indicate that he could not explain why the color lines are deflected in presence of the magnetic field. Right students? That's we called as the Zeeman effect. And one more thing, when hydrogen light has passed through the prism emitting the color light, if this color light, if we put the electric field, then electric field, the positive and this is negative electric field. In that case, he could not explain the why the color lights are deflected in presence of electric field, that is we call it the Stark effect. He could not explain that the colored spectral lines or continuous spectral lines, why they are deflected in presence of magnetic field called as Zeeman effect. He could not explain that why the colored lines are deflected in presence of electric field called as Stark effect. Right, friends? So Stark effect means the lines are dissociated in presence of electric field. Zeeman effect, lines are dissociated in presence of magnetic field. Right. And one more thing he cannot explain, that the atoms, what are the hydrogen atoms or many other atoms are there, they form molecules by chemical bond. He cannot explain that how atoms forms molecules through a chemical bond, he could not explain. So that's why these are the some drawbacks of the Bohr's model of atoms. Understood, students? So next is the de Broglie hypothesis or dual behavior of matter. So earlier classes on the previous class we have discussed that the light have a particle nature and the wave nature. Light have a particle nature and wave nature. But the de Broglie explained that the electron have a particle nature and wave nature. Earlier scientists believed that the electron is a mass, definite mass, so that's why it shows only particle nature. But de Broglie has proved that it shows the particle nature as well as the wave nature. So matter like radiations should be exhibit dual behavior of particle as well as wave nature. Matter like the radiations. So electrons are emitted from the radiations. Right. So electrons which exhibiting the particle as well as wave nature. Photon and electron both momentum and wavelength. Photon and electrons both have a momentum and wavelength. Momentum means mass into velocity, that is we call as a momentum. Wavelength is the lambda. So what are the electrons or the photons? Both have a momentum as well as the wavelength. Right, students? Okay. So he proved that de Broglie mentioned that lambda is a wavelength is equal to h by mv. Lambda is equal to h by mv. He showed that the electron which having the particle mass nature, which moving with the velocity, which moving with fixed velocity, right? Because having the fixed mass, so it's move with the fixed velocity v square, right? When it move with the fixed velocity, it exhibiting certain wavelength. It have a certain wavelengths are emitted, certain wavelengths are emitting. So that's why he considers this formula lambda is equal to h by mv. Right, friends? So wavelength of electrons is equal to wavelength of electron is measured by the h by mv formula. Right? Mv is the momentum also designated as p. Right, students? So lambda is the wavelength, h is the Planck constant, m is the mass, v is the velocity. So whatever these electrons are there, why he explained that the electron exhibiting the electron, if electron is the particle exhibit wave nature, right? Wave nature. Why it exhibit wave nature? Because this is when we calculate the wavelength, it is a very microscopic particle. It's a very microscopic particle, so that's why it exhibiting the wave nature. We exhibit the wave nature, right? So if you want, so every object in the universe, if they have mass, means they definitely have the wave also. They definitely show the wave behavior. For example, if we use the electron which having the microscopic particle, and these microscopic particles move from one energy level to another energy level, first energy level to the second energy level or one shell to another shells with fixed energy, with a fixed energy. While they are moving, in they move like a wave, they are move like a waves, right students? And if we are use the every object of wavelength is short because their mass is very large. Some what are the objects are there, some the heavy object like the football or ball, right? If you want to calculate the ball ball wavelength, if you want to calculate the ball wavelength, we know the mass of ball, we have to know that the velocity of the ball. But if you want to calculate the wavelength is very small, wavelength is very small because the its mass is large, right? So this de Broglie explained that whatever the microscopic particles are there, electron, proton, neutron, like the microscopic particle have very small mass, so that's why their wavelength we have to be find out easily. But in case of large mass we can't able to find the wavelength, or its wavelength is very short, right students? Okay, this is about the today topic students. If you find any doubt, then ask me students. Thank you so much.